Externship was the change for us. I think that we, as a focus area, a new focus area, we're struggling to come up with ways to authentically embed career and industry partners. And I felt like our projects started to be really unwieldy, which we're working through now as an authentic process. Like, they were big and they were really heavily engineering based, and a lot of stress and effort on your part to come up with these large projects, and we didn't have a foundation to work from. And then Chuck and Jessica and SCO offered this opportunity for us to spend a summer, was it 2 weeks?
It was
one week, one super intensive week with these really hyper professional engineers who you'll meet, who are amazing, but they literally scheduled every moment. Like, we had to ask to go to the bathroom. But what it was they had this clear process.
Like we do in school.
Kind of like we do in school. They had this super clear process of like the design process that we then folded in. So the experience, I guess I'm talking about, the experience allowed us to have a structure. How does something start? Where does it go? The process and the people involved. And Keysight was amazing to open up their doors and lead us through this as educators. And they were really open to giving us time to process it as educators. And that was really important because we aren't engineers, and they had a really cool project for us, but we had to ask for the time to reflect on what it would look like in a classroom. And that week working together and being put in an uncomfortable position really mirrored what our students would have to do. And that changed the way we plan. It really did, because now we had a language. And we had a language that we could then look at our students and say, oh, no, they use this in the field you want to go into. And that was a total game changer for us. So that organized industry partner connection was super important in how we plan and how we structure and how we look at what we want to do next. And I think it informed the big, recruitment project we just did at the Air Museum.
Oh, no, I think it's informed from these kind of grand, so the project that directly resulted of that was 6-week intensive where we actually didn't even have individual classes, right? So we just took them through kind of this R&D process that we emulated off of the Keysight experience. But even down to our little mini ones, I think we still use kind of this base structure, and we actually blow it up or we shrink it down based on the need. And we're still really experimenting and playing with it, like even looking forward to this new project that we're going to try. But it's kind of all over the place. It gave us a foundation, and that foundation's even continued to evolve based on kind of the specifics of what we teach, but it gave us this launching point for it.
And it changed the way I teach English in this focus area. So I was allowed to see how I could embed English content standards in an engineering focus. And when I started, I was trying to just plug in technology and engineering where I thought it would fit, and it felt really inauthentic, and I was struggling. I was actually not feeling successful at all. And that Keysight, that externship experience, and then how we work together to kind of embed it, I realized it has to be a complete opposite, and I have to find a way to embrace the technology and teach English through that. And I wouldn't have done that without that externship, because it was I was in charge of coding the little dog tracker, and what I realized was coding's just a language, and a language has grammar and structure, and oh, there it is. Like, it was just this really awakening moment for me, and it's allowed me to, when we're not doing project-based learning together, it's allowed me to bring that into my classroom. So right now we're doing a science fiction unit where I'm able to teach all of my literacy content standards, but through a lens that they embrace and enjoy. So I can talk about like the rhetoric of video games or thematic links between stories in science fiction. And it allows me to do my English content, but embed the focus area focus. And that was really cool. And it was all that summer institute.
Yeah, it made the subject area stuff kind of
easier.
And it made the themes kind of the driving force behind it. Which I would say is a huge difference in how
I'm
your
happier.
classes go. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'd say before and after, if we look at like the big projects, the engineering theme was the driving force behind it, and now the English history content, as much as we can, ends up being the topical driving force, and then we kind of use the engineering skills to flesh out what they actually produce from it. And so it's more just actually their toolbox for how they kind of bring to life whatever we're trying to.
Yeah. What else do you guys need?
I know.
Yes. Can you guys talk about the Inquiry Fellowship a little bit, if that's been useful to you? Anything you brought back from that?
Berkeley.
Oh, being in a different space with people who aren't tied to a classroom has been
gosh.
mind-blowing and really exciting. So the physical traveling to a different space, while frustrating at first because it's commuting time, was really powerful to be with two women who have created their own world and created this purposeful space, and they aren't connected to like standards and curriculum and time framing, and it's just this like ability to create and think, and that's been really powerful to push us to realms like their key question is like, how can you make that more wicked? And so it was a little bit of a joke at first, but it actually really propels the engagement for the students, and we wouldn't have had that without that exposure.
Yeah, they bring a non-public education edge to it, which is very much what we need. I also love that they push like this idea of like, why are you limiting yourself to these like kind of traditional like school projects? Instead, let's blow it up. Like let's make this as grand, and then you can try to start to scale it back, but go for the gold as much as you can, and change the world, and then be like, okay, now let's make this a little bit more reasonable, achievable.
Because public school educators look at limitations first. That's the natural area that we work in. So, there's not enough money, there's not enough resources. We can't build that. And working with these two people, these two ladies, has really helped say like, no, start there, and then we'll adapt it to fit. And and so the go there has really changed the way I think about our program and what I can do with these students.
I think it's just the breaking out of the normal schooling process has been the biggest the biggest factor there, and who they are.
And we're super thankful for that facilitation, because it's not something with the time and effort required that teachers can do. Like we have to have that external grant support or the SCO support to actually make that happen, because I can't do another thing on my own. The collective has to help. So
that Natasha video, that's the one I get called out on all the time, where I'm like, I can't believe we did it. Like, I mean, that's like all projects are like like there's like this like dip in the middle of it. You're like, we're not gonna survive.
And then we do, and then the kids learn, and they come back, and they're leaders, and we can push them to different areas.
They come over and they're like, "Are you okay?"
It's gonna be okay.
What else can we? I know they probably want.
They're like, why